Welcome to Therapy Explained, where we explain, demystify, and destigmatize mental health and mental health treatment. My name is Deniss Planner. I'm a licensed therapist, a group practice owner, and your host here at Therapy Explained. Learning how to build boundaries and then maintain them can be really challenging. It's also really overwhelming to think that we are in this dynamic and in this space in our relationships where we're used to helping other people, we're used to prioritizing others and supporting others, and then changing that into starting to say no and really cutting people off. That's what it feels like, right? This idea that to say no, to set boundaries means also possibly losing relationships or feeling more distant from them, or being afraid that if we're not there to help other people, that they might fail or be hurt in some way. All of this can be very overwhelming, and something that I encourage my patients and you in the conversations that we have on this channel is take baby steps. If setting boundaries like saying no and not doing certain things for people anymore can be too overwhelming for you, it's okay. Today we're going to go over some things that you can do that are baby steps towards being able to establish boundaries around you. Now, I have a bunch of videos on boundaries and how to really change the way that we think about boundaries so that they don't feel as overwhelming, and to have a better understanding of what a boundary actually is. Now, remember, as with everything else, this is a journey, and it is also very individual to who you are, depending on the kind of person that you want to be, on the energy and time that you have available, and on your values, right? All of that will inform the kind of boundaries that you set and the kind of boundaries that will feel good to you. Before we jump into the video, as always, be sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and give it a thumbs up if you find it useful or if you feel that you learned something along the way. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Here are some baby steps that you can take towards establishing some healthy boundaries. Number one, take yes, but opportunities. Saying outright no to things when people ask us for favors can feel a little bit overwhelming, especially if we're not used to doing that. And no might actually not even be something that aligns with who we are and what we want to do. However, a full yes also feels like too much. If you're used to saying yes and overextending yourself and leading yourself to burnout, saying yes but can be a good strategy to practice some healthy boundaries, to set boundaries maybe that feel more aligned with who you are. But if no is the ultimate goal, remember those baby steps are important. Practicing yes but can lead us to being able to say no at some point. So what does that actually sound like? So if somebody asks you for a favor, whether that's at work or one of your friends or family member, and they want you to do something for them, remember that you can always say yes, but I can only help you get it started, or I can only help you finish it, or yes, I would like to help you with this. However, I'm not going to be able to help you throughout the whole process. Why don't I link you up to someone who can, right? Or yes, I can provide you with some of the information for that, but only, by on this date, or I can yes help you with that, but on this day at this time. Here's my availability, right? Instead of saying yes, I can help you whenever, you just let me know and I'll be there for you. So really starting to set some of those boundaries as well, not just with your energy, but also with your time and availability to other people. And this again will be very individual, saying how much you're willing to still help other people, but it will help create those baby steps, or take those baby steps towards a full no whenever that feels more like where you want to be. Number two, practice with a safe relationship. What I mean by this is most of us will have that one friend that might be more open to us practicing boundaries, or perhaps that one family member who we have a pretty good rapport with, but every so often we want to be able to set maybe some more boundaries, right? It might mean not something huge, maybe just feeling more comfortable with saying no to certain outings or no to certain activities. And even if we think that friend or family member might give us a little bit of pushback, it still won't be that overwhelming or scary for us, and they're more likely to kind of be understanding. You might even be able to explain to them, hey, I am starting my journey to setting boundaries, and you might hear me or see me say no to more things or be less available as usual, and I would appreciate any support that you can give me there or any understanding that you can provide me here because this is part of my journey. So if you're able to like outright just share that with your safe person, whoever that might be, go ahead and do that. But it's also not necessary. You can also choose the safe person and then slowly start to practice some of these yes, but, or no practices. This will help because it is already very scary to set boundaries. So if you go to that relationship that is the most overwhelming and the most scary, you're more likely to feel flooded, overwhelmed, and just give up. But if you start with relationships that feel a little bit safer, you'll feel more confident and you'll get into that practice of saying yes, but, or an outright no to things. You'll be like, okay, cool, I've done this before. And for the most part, I get a positive response. Let me practice then with the next one that's more challenging, and then the next one that's more challenging, and then eventually to the one relationship that perhaps you really want to be able to do it with, or the one that is the most difficult to do it with. So remember, everything is about baby steps. So try to identify who that safe person is for you and explore some ways that you can maybe start to say yes, but, or no. Number 3, create boundary statements. In my videos and even in some of the workshops that I do, I will assign you to create some boundary statements. This does require for you to kind of explore what boundary it is that you want to start with. So figuring out what boundaries you need in the first place is going to be important, and check out some of those videos on boundaries. I think that will also be helpful in this piece. But once you know, okay, this is a boundary that I want to practice, or this is a boundary that would be really helpful for me to have, the next piece is learning, okay, how would I communicate that to people? Now, if you're starting off with a safe relationship, how would you communicate it to that person that this is a boundary that you want to practice or that you want to set? When we have these boundary statements, right, like, okay, I know that this is my boundary, this is how I'm going to communicate it to people, and then also having like a follow-up statement in case it does get challenged, what am I going to say, and just kind of keeping them in your back pocket makes it easier when the opportunities come along, because you've already practiced it, you know what you want to say and how you want to say it, so then you go, oh, okay, yeah, great, this is an opportunity for the yes, but, or for the no. Just take it out of your, mind, not your literal back pocket, but also if you want to write that down, why not? Take it out of your pocket and you're able to say it because you've already practiced it. So even if you're nervous, even if maybe you're a little bit anxious, it's going to be okay because you've already practiced it and you know what you want to say. Because the other piece of boundaries is that when we get that opportunity, we think, oh my God, like, how should I say it? What if they get mad? What if this? What if that? And it creates so much anxiety that's another barrier for us to be able to establish them. So if you already have a statement, an idea of how you want to say it, this will make it easier. And then also that backup one in case it does get challenged, you don't have to then rack your brain or be in that anxiety and be like, oh my God, this person's not going to accept my boundary. What do I say? You can just say, oh, here it is. This is what I usually say. So start brainstorming some of that. Again, identify what your boundary is, identify your safe person ideally, and then start to create those statements for yourself so that you can start to set these boundaries in a way that feels authentic and more comfortable for you. And you can feel confident when you start to actually do that. Number 4, collect boundary affirmations. Okay, so I've said it multiple times and I'm sure you already know it, so I don't have to say it again, but I will anyway. Setting boundaries can feel really overwhelming. It's scary and it's anxiety inducing. We can do a lot of catastrophizing and start thinking, oh my God, this is going to go horribly. People are going to be upset with me. And it just causes a lot of activation in our body. So something that can be really helpful is to start collecting some affirmations. So these you can find anywhere. They're on Pinterest, on Instagram. You might even find some TikToks that you can save, or even here on YouTube, someone that might have some for you. At my practice shop, at our wellness shop, we do sell them. So if you want to check them out, I'll leave a link down at the bottom, but it's also not necessary for you to purchase them. You can find them anywhere for free online. And what this means is just statements that you can repeat to yourself to remind yourself of why you're doing this in the first place and that you are allowed to set boundaries. They are simple statements that maybe you can also make up for yourself, right? Like, I'm setting this boundary because I'm allowed to have personal space. I'm allowed to have personal time. Setting a boundary doesn't mean that I don't love the people that are important to me, right? Like all of these statements that can help you feel more sure and like regain that confidence in these boundaries, because it's scary to do it. And if somebody challenges it too, or has a negative response to our boundary, it can get us to kind of, you know, start questioning our boundary and whether or not this is the right thing to do. So if you have these affirmations already ready, maybe on your phone, you can take some screenshots, or if it's TikToks, you can just pull it up and look at your saved ones and like have somebody repeat these to you. They can be really helpful in helping you with that, again, anxiety that might be coming up for you, and that fear, and just the overall general difficulty that comes with learning how to establish boundaries. Number 5, creating some grounding tools. Okay, so in the same theme of this is overwhelming, so we can learn how to help soothe ourselves, create some coping tools, whether that's like the deep breathing or meditation, journaling, coloring, going for a walk, whatever it is. Build a practice of something that you like to do that is soothing and grounding. Again, that helps you feel a little bit calmer. Not necessarily something that's like that will activate your nervous system, like running or dancing or something that, again, is more activating, because what we want to do is help you build the habit of having something that calms you down, so that when you start practicing your boundaries and you feel overwhelmed, you feel your nervous system being activated, you can again go to this activity that you're used to doing, that you know helps you feel calm, and engage in that. So you can practice your affirmations that we just talked about, and then afterwards do a coping tool, right? Like, oh, I love coloring and I know that helps me feel calm. I'm going to practice my boundary with someone. I'm going to then do my affirmations, and then I'm going to engage in some coloring because that's going to help me feel a little bit better. So again, once you have a practice, like a few coping tools that you know help you, that you enjoy doing, these will become a habit and your go-to for that self-soothing. I hope all of this was helpful. Again, remember, these are baby steps. So a lot of these things you can build on, grow on, and then eventually get to a place where you feel very confident and very secure in the boundaries that you're setting and how you're setting them. But this is a journey, it's an individual journey. So I do encourage you at the end of the video, take maybe just 1 or 2 things that we talked about today, because again, the theme is baby steps. So you're not going to be able to do all of the things that I shared. Just pick 1 or 2 that you want to get used to, and then build from there. You're not in a hurry. There's always time. It's going to be okay. I promise. Take it slow. Well, with that, I hope that you found the video helpful. If you did, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one.